Okay, sorry, a little disruption there. Okay, so we have our side length going up by 1. Okay, so that's our scale for side length and starting at 1. Our perimeter, I'm going to start at 4. Okay, because same thing, I'm not going to have a perimeter of 0. So I'm going to start at 4. I'm going to go up by 4s. You could go up by 2s. You could go up by 1s, but it would have to be small lines, right? I'm going to go up by 4s. So 4, 8, 12, 16, 20, 24. Okay, after you've done that, you're going to look to your table for the points. So when the side length was 1, the perimeter was 4. When the side length was 2, the perimeter was 8. Okay, 3 was 12, 4 was 16, and 5 was 20. Okay, so there's all our points, and we can join them. Okay, so the only thing that's missing on here would be a title. Okay, so I could do side length and perimeter of tiles, something like that. Okay, so now it says describe the relationship. So I'm going to describe the relationship here. Well, it could be something as simple as the side length increases, the perimeter increases, right? And we did this in our graphing unit. So I usually start with my independent variable and I say, okay, well, as the side length is increasing, the perimeter is going to do one or two things, right? It's either going to increase as well, in this case it increases, or the other variable might be decreasing if you have a line going down, okay? Describe the shape of the graph. So that's another question on your sheet. You could just write line or straight line. Okay, that goes there. Okay, so that's most of it. There's just a couple questions on your sheet here, and I'll just go over those quickly with you. And then you have 2 more, basically the exact same to do. Okay, where, take this down, where you're given a table, it's asked you to fill in the table, and then you construct a graph and you answer a few questions about it. Okay, and you do have to calculate first differences. So there's 2 other sheets for you to do for that. Okay, so the last couple questions on that from that first example. So this is from 5. So it says, when the side length increases by 1 centimeter, the perimeter increases by, we know 4. So I'll just write it all out, especially for those that aren't able to print it off. So when the side length increases by 1 centimeter, the perimeter increases by 4 centimeters. Okay, and then so that's A. You'll notice some of these questions are a little bit repetitive. B, the plotted points suggest. The plotted points suggest. Okay, and that's dot, dot, dot. Well, you could look at your graph here and say, okay, what do they suggest? Well, this unit is all about linear relations. So basically, this is asking that it suggests a linear relationship. Okay, so when you have a straight line, you have a linear relationship. So the plotted points suggest a linear relationship. Okay, and a linear relationship is basically one that as the independent variable goes up by 1s or goes up by 2s, the dependent variable is going to go up by a constant number as well. So that's a linear relationship. So it suggests a linear relationship. And the last question for the first example says the first differences are dot, dot, dot. You could say a few things. The first differences are all the same. Okay, they're all the same. They're all 4. They're all positive. Okay, basically this is getting you to see that, okay, if I have a straight line, my first differences are going to be the same. Okay, that's kind of a rule. So the first differences are all the same. First differences are all 4. If you have the first differences all the same, you have a linear relationship. If you have first differences, we'll get into this a little bit more after, but if you have first differences that are all positive, then you are going to have a positive linear relationship. Okay, so I'm sure there's an example where you're going to do that first differences are all negative, okay, and that you would get a downward slope, okay. Okay, so that's it. That's all I'll go over. There's 2 more examples that basically follow the exact same format for you to try, and that's it for the week, okay, so just a lighter week.